Aloha and good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:05 p.m. on Thursday, June 27, 2024, and I call the Committee on Public Safety meeting to order. In the Council chambers today, I would like to welcome Committee Vice Chair Councilmember Tolba and Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Councilmember Tupola is excused from today's meeting. Also joining us today is Councilmember Say. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedure in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in the following order: in person in the council chamber and remotely. In person and remote oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name for the record. Each speaker will be limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who have registered to testify in person will be called upon first. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium. When the timer goes off, please conclude your remarks promptly. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify before the registered testifiers. I will then proceed to remote testimony via video conference or phone. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. For those who are joining us by telephone only, I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and press *6. Persons who have not registered to testify remotely will be given an opportunity to offer testimony. To indicate your desire to speak, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom or press *9 on your telephone. Some friendly reminders and tips: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you are also watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires that all votes at remote meetings be conducted by roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I will first call for objections, and if there are any, I will call for a roll call vote. When testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Mahalo. Moving to agenda item number 1, Resolution 24-127. This resolution confirms the appointment of Arnold Wong to serve on the Fire Commission of the City and County of Honolulu. And with us, I believe we have the appointee, Mr. Arnold Wong. If you could just introduce yourself, and we'll give you a time to share with us.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Arnold Wong, and I am very honored to be here today as being nominated for the Fire Commission. Just a real brief that I said in council that I'm here to serve the community because, the men that help my parents, my friends, and families, I can't say much more than they help them when in a time of need. And I want to help them to get all the resources available so they can do their services for the people. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Members, do we have any questions for Mr. Wong? I had a quick question, and I thank you for the opportunity to meet in my office, and I shared with you that I'll probably be asking you in this setting as well. Maybe the public may not know, I know you shared it in front of the full council, but you had the opportunity to serve previously on the commission, and now you're having this opportunity as well. I kind of wanted to ask you, what do you think you could bring from then, and what was your desire, other than what you've already shared, to return to the commission? Because it is a voluntary act of service.
The interesting part is when I first volunteered, there was no rules for the fire commission itself, not the fire department, but the commission. So I assisted in drafting and processing the rules to allow the commission to move smoothly and to work better for the department and the members of the public. Additionally to that, I'm going to use the word tasked by the commission to work on the budget. Because at that time, no one was working on the budget, and that's part of the charter, that the commission needs to review the budget, department and the community council to assist in saying, this is the transparency that we need for the budget and what they're doing. So there's this is the word transparency that's being used nowadays. And without that, it's going to be questionable and says, hey, are they really using the money for what they're supposed to be doing? So we want to show proof that the money is being used properly.
Thank you so much. Members, any further questions for Mr. Wong? No? Thank you, Mr. Wong.
Thank you, Chair.
We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We will now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, we are now in discussion. Discussion? Okay. I'd just like to add thank you, Mr. Wong, again, for the opportunity to meet with you and for coming today. We look forward to continuing the journey for you. I do want to thank you for what you're doing. I know that the department will benefit from working together with the commission. I appreciated what you stated on your desire to make sure that the community is getting the best resources, and however the department can do that, you're willing to support. So thank you so much. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-127 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 2, Resolution 24-161. This resolution accepts a gift to the city valued at $50,000 from Othram Inc. for DNA testing to identify 5 human remains under the jurisdiction of the Department of the Medical Examiner. And with us today, I believe we have our Medical Examiner, Masahiko Kobayashi. Aloha, Director Kobayashi.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is, again, Masahiko Kobayashi. I'm the Medical Examiner. So, Othram Inc. Generously offered advanced DNA testing on 5 sets of identified remains our department has. So we have actually documented 58 identified remains since 1966. All the cases have been cremated, but we still have DNA samples or skeletons from 38 cases. So Othram has collected funds from grants and also donations, and offered this testing to many law enforcement agencies, medical examiners' offices, and coroner's offices nationwide. And so Othram helped them solve many cold cases. And they have selected 5 of our cases from the database. And these cases were found between 2000 and 2015. And the testing will be performed by Othram. And they use forensic genetic genealogy testing, which can be a better tool for finding relatives than traditional DNA analysis. So we hope we can find relatives of these cases and eventually make identification on them. And the circumstances surrounding their death are not really clear. So we hope this identification may lead to additional or new investigation. And then we can have more clear understanding of these cases. So the forensic genealogy testing costs about $10,000 per case. And our department cannot afford testing on as many as 5 cases. So this is a really, really great opportunity, and I respectfully request your approval of this gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Medical Examiner Kobayashi. Members, do you have any questions for Dr. Kobayashi? Yes, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Doctor. I know I emailed you about how many sets of remains, unidentified remains, are there in your custody overall?
We have 38. Yeah, 38 cases, but actually many of them are cremated. We only have some DNA samples, but skeleton cases, it's easier to keep. So we have several skeleton cases.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Members, any further questions? No questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. Kobayashi. We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We will now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, we are in discussion. Okay. Dr. Kobayashi, I just want to thank you once again. We know that you just had an article in Civil Beat about you, and just hearing about the depth and breadth of what you're responsible for, we know that it's not an easy task. So thank you for what you're doing. And I know that the work you're doing is very important, not just for the city, but for the individual families whose members might have been a part of the remains that you're identifying. But anything that we in the council can do to support you, I know that I can speak on the body that we've all kind of been supportive of doing that. So thankful for this opportunity that we have to have this gift received on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
With no further discussion, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-161 be reported out for adoption. Any further discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you, Dr. Kobayashi. Moving on to agenda item number 3, Resolution 24-144. This resolution accepting a gift to the city valued at $3,000 from Spike's Canine Fund for custom-fitted canine ballistic vests for use by the Honolulu Police Department's Specialized Services Division's Canine Unit. And with us today, we have Major Han Alu from the Honolulu Police Department. Aloha, Major.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Major Hunter Alu with the HPD Specialized Services Division. I'm here on behalf of HPD to accept a gift valued at $3,000 to provide a ballistic vest for one of our canine for the Specialized Services Division.
Thank you, Major Alu. Members, any questions for Major Alu? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we have one standing by.
Okay, aloha, Angela, if you could state your name and proceed with your testimony.
Aloha, City Council, Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES in strong support. So the resolution is to provide for the K-9 unit, which is part of an entire team made up of the Specialized Services Division, which performs a number of diverse functions, which requires unique skills. And so the entire team includes the SWAT team, bomb squad, the K-9 unit, and the helicopter section. So of course, with the resolution, it does support just one part of the team. And however, in a division, each section functions better together when the group can cooperate. And focus on their diverse functions, right? So such as marijuana eradication, arrests and warrants, and working with federal agencies to provide protection for national and international diplomats. And with a special focus on the K-9 unit, officers and puppies are called upon to search for prisoners and felony suspects, and they can also be used for explosive detection.
Thank you, Angela.
So it's really good to support the
Thank
K-9
you so much
unit.
for your
Thank you.
testimony. Clerks, do we have any other in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, we are in discussion. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-144 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Seeing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 4, Resolution 24-146. This resolution accepts a gift to the city valued at $10,000 from Vested Interest in Canines, Inc. for canine ballistic vests, canine first aid kits, and canine Narcan kits for use by the Honolulu Police Department's Specialized Services Division and Narcotic Vice Division canine units. With us again, we have Major Hunter Alu from the Police Department. Aloha, Major.
Hi, good afternoon again. So I'm here on behalf of the Honolulu Police Department to accept a gift valued at $10,000 to further provide for our canine in the Specialized Services Division.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Major Alu? Yes, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
I heard that there are canine Narcan kits. Has HPD had to use those yet? Have the dogs been exposed to fentanyl or opioids in the course of their duties?
I apologize. That's not, I'm new to the unit as the major. I'm not familiar with any Narcan being used for our canine.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, thank you, Major Alu. We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we have one standing by.
Aloha, Angela.
Aloha, City Council Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES in strong support of the resolution. We are in support because puppies are medically valuable and it's very valuable to public safety matters. For example, puppies can get trained to go to a certification class to detect high blood pressure, and it's very helpful for investigative matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. Clerks, do we have any further in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
We will not proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Before we go to discussion, I'd like to just again welcome to the Chamber Council Chair Waters joining us today. Thank you, Chair, for joining us. Seeing no further testifiers, members, we are in discussion. With no further discussion, the Chair recommends that Resolution 24-146 be reported out for adoption. Any further discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 5, Resolution 24-143. This resolution establishes a task force on gambling rooms. Members, we have distributed a hand-carried CD1 version of the resolution, OCS 2024 or 2024-0641. The hand-carried CD1 makes the following amendments. A, in the second "be it further resolved" clause, replaces the blank space with 90 days as it pertains to the deadline for the task force to submit a written report of its findings and recommendations. And B, makes miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendments. With us today, we have Major Mike Lambert from the Honolulu Police Department, as well as Director Don Takeuchi Apuna from our Department of Permitting and Planning and Permitting. Permitting and Planning, sorry, DPP. We'd like to welcome Major Mike Lambert. Is he here? Nope, okay. I know we have Director Takeuchi Apuna. Aloha, Director.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and Council Chair, members of the committee, Don Apuna. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on this resolution. I think it's a good idea. I think there's a lot that's already going on with HPD and DPP and HFD under some of the operations that HPD has conducted, and they've been very successful. So this might be the opportunity to lay out how we can continue some of these operations in a more official manner in order to make sure we can have this carry out throughout the island, because I think it's mostly been in Kalihi. So I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Apuna. Members, any questions for Director Takeuchi Apuna at this time? Yes, Councilmember Say.
Yes, Director Apuna, would you be open to incorporating also Corporation Counsel for their legal advice?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
Because you have 5 members of the task force. 3 are with the prosecutor's office, police department, and DPP, and 2 council members. So if you want to do it 6, add on the Corporation Counsel, who is also our legal agency as far as interpretation of the laws.
Thank you, Councilmember Say. Members, any further questions? Thank you, Director Apuna. We will now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we have one standing by.
Thank you. Aloha, Angela.
Aloha, City Council. I just want to testify in strong support. I think I talked about a potential idea for a collaboration with these specific officers. So I think it's a good idea to work with the city's prosecuting attorney and also the Honolulu Police Department and DPP to collaborate, as well as with Corporation Counsel. Yeah, because each office has special focuses. So when they contribute to the planning, then it's more effective in the results.
Thank you, Angela. Clerks, do we have any other in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, seeing no further testifiers, members, we are in discussion. No discussion. Okay, at this time, Chair will call a quick recess. At 1:32, we call the Committee on Public Safety back into order. Thank you, members. Just to recap where we're at, we finished discussion, and so we're moving on to the recommendation. At this time, the chair recommends that Resolution 24-143 be amended to the hand-carried CD1 as identified as OCS 2024-0641. Any further discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 24-143 CD1 be reported out for adoption with the intention to incorporate Councilmember Say's verbal recommendation and will be requesting an FD1. Any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilmember Say.
The reason why for the request is that in most cases, as violations go through the Department of Planning and Permitting, the enforcement area then comes into play, which is the Corporation Council. So that's the reason why I tried to interject. Maybe the Corporation Council should be a part of the 6-member task force.
Thank you, Councilmember Say, for clarifying that. That was, I failed to mention that the verbal recommendation during discussion was to add a member of the task force to be from Corp Council. So thank you, Councilmember Say. Clerks are okay with, we're okay? Okay, thank you. Moving to agenda item number 6, Bill 22, 2024. This bill relates to the fire code. With us today, we have Fire Chief Sheldon Kalani-Hao and Battalion Chief J.C. Bish with us. Aloha, Chief Hao.
Aloha, good afternoon. Chair Okimoto, Vice Chair Toba, council members, good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity to testify on this bill. First off, the HFD strongly opposes Bill 22. And I wanted to share some history behind the bill. So we have a PowerPoint up there. So back in 2010, Bill 34 was passed, and it put a ban on consumer fireworks. Back in 2014, Bill 5 was introduced to legalize consumer fireworks again, and from my understanding, it was deferred because of possible lack of statistics. And again, we're here in 2024 with Bill 22. So I wanted to share some statistics that we had from medical statistics that we got from the State Department of Health Injury Prevention Section. We only have data from 2017 to 2019. So I wanted to take a look at, if you can see the chart and the graph, it's color-coded, and you can see that line coming down. That's where the ban took effect. And you can just visually see the impact of Bill 34 on the reduction of injuries. And again, these are injuries that required medical attention at the emergency departments throughout the hospitals. Each of these is county-wide. That red graph is county-wide, but if you look at the individual bars for Oahu County, it's the white bar. It has the highest. To the left, we have a chart. If I look at the 4 years preceding the ban, I think the average is about 83 per year incidents or injuries. And the years after the ban, an average of 23 for a reduction of 72% in injuries. So quite substantial. And then if you just wanted to look at more recent data, the last 4 years, the average would have been 28 injuries for approximately a 66% reduction. Moving on to the next slide. I wanted to look at our fire-related calls, which include this data that the Honolulu Fire Department collects. Includes wildland rubbish, auto, and structure fires. Again, you can also see the before and after. The 4 years preceding, the average is 35 incidents. And the years after, it's average of 8 incidents
all the way to 2023 for a 78% reduction. If we look at the last 4 years, the average comes out to 9.75 for a 72% reduction. So from our standpoint, Bill 34 was successful in reducing or creating a safer, healthier environment for our community. Next, I wanted to touch on, what's been kind of a hot topic within our state with the Maui wildland fires. Our community has been very sensitive to fires, especially wildland fires. Many of our neighborhood board meetings that we've attended, almost every neighborhood board they have concerns about wildland. Recently in this year, we had a lot of heavy rains in May. So from the National Weather Service, we have a big green up, and moving into the summer, we're gonna have a La Nina effect, these drier, more windy conditions. So for this fire season, it is expected to be very high rating. Also, I wanted to bring to attention HECO's public safety power shutoffs. So actually, the program starts on July 1st, and HECO will preemptively shut down power in certain areas identified as high risk in forecast of high winds and dry conditions. And again, the intent is to keep the community safe by reducing possible ignitions. And again, I say that because if you go back to the data, in our opinion, Bill 34 is successful in reducing ignitions. And it was so important, even for HECO, to reduce it, that they've implemented this program to ensure that, to minimize any type of ignitions that could start wildfire in these critical areas. And then also tied into this topic is the DLE just recently formed an illegal fireworks task force back in June of 2023. It's led by the state and comprised of city, state, and federal partners. And to date, they've seized over 200 pounds to date of illegal fireworks. So our position is, again, we strongly oppose it for all those following reasons, and we hope that you would vote no for Bill 22. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief Ha'o. Before I turn it over to questions, because I did have some, I failed to allow some time for the introducer of the measure. Councilmember Say, did you want to say anything? And I apologize, I had meant to have you do this before we went into the first presentation testimony.
At this time, I did state for the record when we had our first reading and second reading, and this being going to be the second reading, that personally, consumer fireworks are fireworks that deals with sparklers and fountains and spinners. To allude that we're going to create that wildfire, it's just like throwing out a cigarette butt on the freeway and letting it just go. At this point in time, I just thought it would be a great idea just to have the idea of this issue be surfaced, but more importantly, another reallocation, redirection of money being spent by consumers on what is legit and what is illegal. The stats that the chief shows is correct from the Department of Health. And what I'm saying is that we don't have it. So we cannot include these two type of items or three items as contributing to this particular incidence of mortality or whatever it may be. And I just introduced it to see if we could have the discussion to help our also retailers and also making it legit that they have to go through the retailer and wholesaler. Has it worked in regards to what we discussed earlier at one of the hearings? That even buying, getting that permit for $25 and then going to CVS Longs to buy a 500 pack firecracker and other things? We have never stopped the illegals, the aerials, the bombs. And that's why I thought this would be another smaller way of saying, hey, I don't believe it's going to impact us that greatly. So at this point, that's the reason why it was introduced. And I really, truly believe that let's continue on with our cultural resources that we are a part of. Having my grandchild having to play the sparklers, but not Roman candle, not bottle rockets, not aerials, etc. So that's the reason why I had introduced.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Say. Chief Howell, if, and members, if you could allow me at this time to ask some questions, and then I'll turn it over to the rest of the body. I did have some questions, and I want to go back to your graph here. I think it's on page 2. So I appreciate, I'm a visual learner as well. I appreciate the statistics, but I did notice that, that when the ban first was passed into law, I believe that was 2010. So you see that big drop initially. But then since then, actually, you see an increase. And in 2017, it went up. 2018 is still kind of going up. We don't have anything for, now it's 2024. And those of us who, experience the everyday or every year celebrations, it has seemed like it's increased. So I think I wanted to know if you have seen an increase. I know this graph only ends in 2019. Do you have statistics past that? Because that was about 6 years ago. To show it from here, it's showing like it as if it were increasing the injuries statewide, and the majority of them happening on our island of Oahu.
I think Ian Santee from EMS might have some recent data that they collected for the medical side on the injuries. But
so this is from your department, or this is from EMS?
The first slide that is up right now, it's actually from the Department of Health.
Okay.
It's the injury prevention section. We didn't have any data after 2019.
After 2019,
I think
okay.
they stopped collecting data after 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Deputy Director Santee, did you want to expound on that? Or I had further questions for HFD, but I was just from the presentation that was started today.
No problem. Thank you, Chair. Again, Ian Santee, Deputy Director, Emergency Services Department. I have just very specific data that I wanted to share with the committee in regards to fireworks-related injuries for this past calendar year, as well as actually most recently last weekend. So I'm not sure if anybody in here is aware that, but last weekend there was a fireworks explosion on the Central Oahu area on that side of the island, which involved a total of 4 people being transported to the hospital. 2 were minors and 2 were elderly people. Both were in stable condition, but however, again, as Chief pointed out, the fireworks, any type of fireworks or any type of injury, be it illegal or legal at that matter, does cause injury. For last calendar year, from the period of December 31st through 6 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day, EMS responded to almost 300 911 calls in that time period, and 7 were directly related to fireworks. 3 of them were minors, and 3 of them were over the age of 60, and 1 was under the age was 20. And then we also responded to 8 assaults and 9 difficulty breathings. So from a medical standpoint, it really, the more fireworks out there, it does cause a lot of different medical problems. But
I guess my point is that even so, since the ban, the injuries have increased, it sounds like. And I did have a question. You mentioned that it doesn't matter of the type of fireworks, but I was curious to know what types of fireworks are being used when these injuries and these accidents are happening.
A lot of it is self-made.
Self-made.
So they take fireworks and they make their own thing out of it and they put it together. Or people find fireworks that are illegal, like a rocket, and it doesn't go off, and they bend over and they try to shake it, and it goes off in their face. Mm-hmm. So those are a lot of the injuries that we see.
So just based on what I'm hearing, and the graph also shows that the neighbor island counties, which don't have bans, their numbers are fairly low, almost 0 actually some years. And I understand that there are different counties, their population is different, much smaller. I'm from a small island myself, I understand. However, it sounds like even with the ban, the injuries have not gone down. That's what I'm hearing from your account right now, that the injuries are still elevating, still happening, even as of last week.
I don't have the last trend, as Chief pointed out. Again, this is from the Department of Health. We can get back to you and try and look at what our trend is, but I do know of a lot of fatalities actually that have happened on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day over the last 5 to 10 years, resulting from fireworks. So I don't think it makes a difference if it's gone up or down. I think the difference is that it's the exposure and the medical emergencies. Our EMS personnel, as well as the fire personnel, on a very high alertness during that time period because of fires, and the smoke causes a lot of difficulty breathing type problems. So I know that a lot of communities try to do special things to keep people indoors, but again, the smoke really makes a big difference too.
Oh, completely understand. And we all want our communities to be safe for sure. I just want to, clarify, because when we are bringing statistics that show, and I'm giving percentages that show things are better, but I'm hearing that maybe that's not the case, that's where my pause is. If you're going to have numbers, then I want to make sure that the numbers are accurate and that we're presenting the things. So that a lot of the testimonies provided are skewed towards everything is so much better after the ban, but I'm hearing that that might not be the case. So thank you so much. Chief Howell, if I could, I had a couple of questions. And I know that these statistics are mainly the injuries are based on health records, but for the fires that you guys are addressing, what types of fireworks are causing the fires that you're having to address?
It's not identifiable we looked at all of our incidents and how we capture the information we just have our incident commanders just say that it was fireworks related. I mean, I can go back and get some is very apparent that it was possibly aerials that caused either the fire and or injury, but it doesn't have that much details. All we capture is if it's from fireworks. Yep.
Okay, thank you. And then your department stated that after the initial ban in 2010, a decrease of, I think the last record we heard was 86%, but today it was a different number, 72, or maybe this instance
I think it was 86 because they only
86%.
look at that one instance in time.
Okay.
We wanted to look at it differently from a longer duration to just show that pre and post ban. I know in your opinion, you look at the data and it says there's an increase, but when I look at the entirety, it goes up and down just like it's going to have spikes and troughs, but it's pretty much constant in my opinion. It's very obvious from pre and post the amount of fireworks related incidents that we responded to. So we feel that reintroducing consumer fireworks is going to actually make things go back up to the pre-ban.
So just so I'm sure, the 86%, that was for medical emergencies, not for wildfires or fires. That's what I understood. Is that correct?
I can get back to you on that. I'm not exactly sure how, when Chief Bish reported the last time, exactly what he was looking at as far as, I think it was
HFD, sorry, go
transition.
ahead.
It was more at the transition.
The transition,
Correct.
okay. And so this is just combining on that. Does HFD has any data or other information to prove the causation that you spoke about in your testimony during the first reading of this bill? I know during the first reading you had spoke on this 86%. Do you have any other data?
I think it might be off of the same data. It's just I wanted to look at not at the transition point, but in its entirety from then until now.
Okay.
And we can get back to you with that
Okay,
information on how he got that
Thank you.
86%.
Would the department, here's just me thinking aloud, would the department be opposed to this measure if the committee were to amend it in some form?
I would have to, discuss what the possible amendments would be.
Because I'm trying to figure out, again, how we could find some kind of compromise or balance to what council member say's intentions were. Yeah, and I'm trying to, maybe we can meet offline later, because I really would like to know if the department would have some form of this measure that the department would be able to support.
We'll be open to discussion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief Howell. I did have a question for Chief Logan. I know I see him there for HPD. Aloha, Chief Logan.
Aloha, Chief Okamoto, council members.
Thank you, Chief Logan. I just had one question. Do you have any statistics or numbers on how many arrests were made for fireworks violations in the past year?
Yes. So for 2020, we had 4 arrests, and we gave out 66 citations. 2021, we gave out 53 citations, and 4 individuals were arrested. In 2022, we gave out 17 citations and 3 adults were arrested. And in 2023, we gave out 10 citations and 5 adults were arrested. But what I'd also like to cover, in 2020, we had about 2,800 responses for officers for calls regarding fireworks. In 2021, there were over 3,500 calls for service on law enforcement for fireworks. In 2022, it went down to 2,400. And then in 2023, it was only 2,200. So there is a trend of going down. So you asked earlier, the fire department seeing calls for service have decreased. I've noticed where I live, I've noticed a substantial decrease in the amount of fireworks that are expended in non-4th of July, New Year's Eve time periods. And so that's a significant drop in the number of calls related to fireworks.
Sorry, Chief, could you repeat that? You said in what year was it, 2000 to 2000?
No, in 2020, there were a little over 2,800 calls
2,800 calls.
that we responded to. In 2021, there were a little over 3,500. In 2022, there were a little over 2,400. And in 2023, there were a little over 2,200.
Okay. Can you explain to me the difference? You mentioned there are citations and arrests. And some years, most years, there's more citations. That's gone down. But the arrests are kind of about the same, between about 3 to 5. What's the difference between a citation and an arrest?
So it depends on the officer when they're on the scene, what's going on, what's happening. What is the observations of the officer? Can he see an individual lighting fireworks? He can make an arrest based off of that. These are usually adults. In the cases of these citations, some are juvenile, some are adults. And so maybe we have information after the fact that an incident has occurred and a citation is issued, not necessarily an on-scene observation where an arrest is made.
And these are for people caught using illegal fireworks. Okay, thank you.
They're unpermitted and they're firing off fireworks they're not supposed to have.
Not supposed to have, okay. Members, if you could be patient with me. I just have a couple more questions. Is Prosecutor Alm here at all, or anybody from the prosecutor's office? If not, okay, admin, I had one question for the administration. Thank you, Chief Logan. And you guys may even get called back up again because I'm taking the liberty, and then I'll open it to the members of the committee.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, Council members, Andy Sugg, Mayor's Chief of Staff.
Aloha, Andy. Aloha. Thank you for being here with us. I had a question. Would the administration be opposed to a form of this bill that would be modified in any form?
I think we're going to take our lead from our first responders. I know Chief Howe mentioned that they would be open to discussions. So based on their conversations with you and subsequent conversations that we would have with the fire department and the other first responders, and obviously the council members, we would take our lead from them. But
well, thank you. I thank you for being open. And I do plan to meet further with the department. And I think what I was thinking of, and maybe I should have asked this outright, was if we've done this with other measures that have come through this committee, doing like a pilot program, a 1 to 2 year. So would that be something, or you just wait for us to have the discussion and then meet with you?
I think we'll defer to that.
Okay.
As I said, the mayor's office and the administration stands firmly with our first responders in opposition to the bill as it stands now.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sugg.
Thank you.
Members, thank you so much for letting me ask those questions. At this time, I will turn it over to the rest of you if you had questions for any of those departments that were here. Councilmember Stay, would you like to go first? And then Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Do you, let me ask Chief Hall. Do you feel that sparklers, fountains, spinners would be considered prohibited now, but it's one of the safer type of fireworks to play with or to, burn compared to what we have presently in the laws? The firecrackers and others.
Again, the way I'm interpreting the data is consumer fireworks in general. These are the things that are defined as go no higher than 12 feet above and around. I feel those are the ones, again, by reintroducing that back into the mix, younger children, they're going to be playing with these things. I know some of the things says that you're supposed to place it on the ground, but that never happens. So we feel the data is showing us, and we believe that reintroducing consumer fireworks such as sparklers we would see an increase in these numbers. And again, the reason why we stand firmly on this is if we go back and we look at climate change and everything that happened in Lahaina, and wildfires are created by 99% by humans. So this is just another means to create ignitions. So our standpoint has to, again, the way it's written now, we strongly feel we're not going to move on our position, because we feel, again, reintroducing it, these numbers would go back up. May not be by the full 60 or 70% as we've been looking at, but again, we feel it's very strongly that it will increase.
But having it be permitted, it makes it much more easier to monitor, because it's going to be the retailers that are selling it. The CVS, the Don Quixotes. Personally, right now, it's all illegal and it's all on the black market that we don't have any control over. Chief, your thoughts?
I think if, again, the increase, you're going to have more people using it. I think if you look at the testimony submitted by the Department of Law Enforcement, they feel it's going to be more manpower to help manage, even working with the retailers. We're going to have an increase all on that end. So it's going to take a lot more resources to, again, manage.
Okay. Because right now, do you feel it's successful that you got to go to HFD to get a $25 permit and then go to the CVS and, buy a 500-pack firecracker? I don't know. I rather have for these type of, commercial products, which is much more safer than fireworks and all these illegals, that it's just a reallocation of spending my money on black market versus going to the, legitimate retail store. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. City Councilmember DeSantos Tam.
Thank you. This is maybe more of an enforcement question. Right now, I think it's abundantly clear to everyone that we struggle with enforcing this existing law. Aerials go off all the time, much to the chagrin of probably all of our constituents. If we were to re-permit sparklers, fountains, et cetera, people would still shoot off aerials. I mean,
Absolutely.
And in your estimation, Chief, if you were to show up to a house where people are doing, sparklers and fountains and things, but they're also doing aerials, I'm concerned these people would just say, well, we have here just a bunch of sparklers and fountains. There's nothing to see here. And I just worry that it makes it harder to do enforcement against the bad guys if everybody's allowed to do some minimal amount of playing with sparklers and things like that.
Councilmember, you make a good point. You can use the legal fireworks as a facade behind the illegal operation of fireworks. And to go back with Councilmember Say's earlier comment on the black market, like the legalization of marijuana issue that we were fighting in the House and Senate just this past year, most of the mainland agencies saw an increase in the black market, even though they tried to legalize marijuana. I don't see any difference here. You try to legalize other aspects of fireworks, you're not going to diminish the black market. People are going to do what the black market is because they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to pay a higher fee at Don Quixote or Walmart or wherever they're going to get the fireworks legally, want to get it illegally and pay less. Or maybe they're paying more depending on who's selling and what the price is. But the black market is not necessarily going to change because we can't control what people want to do illegally unless we have the full force of the task force with DLE and other entities such as our narcotics vice working together to stop it at the source, which is where we need to stop it, rather than once it gets on land and delivered out to the streets, then it's much harder to enforce.
And so kind of building upon that enforcement piece, I think I appreciate that the Department of Law Enforcement is stopping things at the port, they're inspecting things, et cetera. But for your boots on the ground, sort of rank and file officers who get calls about some bomb goes off, they show up, what tools would be more helpful for them to be able to go after people that are abusing the illegal fireworks right now? Right, because they show up in somebody's garage and, oh, nothing to see here.
Yeah,
no
by the
proof.
time the firework has gone off, the evidence on the ground may be moved already. And so the officer shows up a few minutes later, there's nothing to see here. So we really have no information to go on. Now, if a neighbor took a video and released that video to us and gave us that, then we can issue a citation and or make an arrest depending on certain things. Sometimes we knock on people's doors and talk story with them. And then if they have illegal fireworks, sometimes in that conversation, they would turn stuff over and get rid of it. And so there's different tools that we can use to help, but really it's a community effort to take back their communities and say, hey, we're not going to put up with this, and we're going to take action as the very first responder before we get on the scene and use either ring video or camera video. Now, I don't want neighbors attacking other neighbors and trying to put people in jail, but at the same token, you know, I'm a dog lover and a dog owner. Every time a firework goes off in my neighborhood, I have 2 dogs that just, they're not happy at all. And then I have to deal with that anxiety. And so why are we putting average citizens who just want to live day to day that have animals that are now in this heightened state because of illegal fireworks going on?
And then last question, which sort of leads to sort of the neighbor effect. If somebody's using, whether it's permitted or not, a sparkler fountain or, you know, the Chinese New Year kind of red strings, and something, you know, happens and the neighbor's house goes up in flames or their bushes or whatever. I mean, who's at fault? Like, what does that look like, and how do we, you know, go after the people who actually lit the fuse? Is it the property owner? Is it the 6-year-old that lights it? I mean, who's responsible?
Well, if we could prove it was a 6-year-old that lit it, then it would be the parents that would ultimately be responsible. But we'd have to do a forensic investigation. We'd have to get witness statements and any video evidence and a whole plethora of other things, working with the fire department as to the cause of the fire and the property damage. So it would be a full-fledged investigation of what happened and take many police and fire personnel hours to investigate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Yes, Chair Waters.
Thank you. Chief Hull, you know, I'm looking at Ordinance 20-6.13, the permit for the firecrackers. I don't recall when this particular requirement was passed. Do you recall when it was required to get a permit?
Actually, I do not, but I'll go. I have my prevention chiefs here. Maybe they would know.
Because I'm wondering if it could be attributed to the ban, of course, but it could also be attributed to the fact that you got to get a permit now. So less people go out. Like for me, I grew up, right, with the Sanchez's across the street and the Kuomo'os and the Tangans. We all used to pop firecrackers. But now I got to go get a permit. I don't do it. You know, so I'm wondering if that had a positive effect on decreasing the amount of injuries as well.
Sorry.
No problem.
It was in 2010.
2010. So the permit requirement was the same time that the original ban, Bill 34. Okay. And then what actually can you do with a permit? How much firecrackers are you allowed to purchase?
I think it's 5,000 per
5,000?
permit. Yeah.
I see. Since the ban, and I have no statistics to back it up, but since the ban, it seems like the illegal aerials got worse. I mean, so the last couple of years, last year I was in Eva. The whole sky was lit up, Augie's district. The year before that I was in Waimanalo, Esther's district. The whole sky was lit up. And then from my house in Kamaki, looking over Kahala, it was no different. It was beautiful and amazing, but that's gotta be dangerous, right? So I'm wondering if there's a correlation between the ban and the illegals. And I don't know, I was just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, they could be, but again, I want to stick to our data. And my perspective again, we took the consumer fireworks out of the equation. And even if you look at the years preceding, I mean, right after the ban, it went straight down already. And if we're saying that 2011, 12, 13, there wasn't that many aerials, it did decrease during that time. I'm sure from a visual standpoint, we cannot quantify it's gotten worse or not, but it would seem so. But again, we're going to go back on the cause based on our interpretation of the data as it being largely due to consumer fireworks.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. The less fireworks there are, the less likelihood of injury or fire. Makes complete sense. But I'm wondering, if you don't give people some outlet, they're gonna turn to the illegals. And by the way, I think that's what the advocates of the bill are arguing. And I'm not necessarily convinced that that's a persuasive argument either, right? That if you give people some opportunity, then they won't use the illegals. And the fact of the matter is, with this ordinance, we are allowing people to pop with a permit, and the illegals are still going on. But really tough one, but thank you. I appreciate your slide deck. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Waters. Members, any further questions? Thank you so much, HFD, and I know Chief Logan was here as well as Andy Suggs. Thank you for answering our questions. Okay, seeing no further questions, we'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered in-person testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we have some standing by.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'd like to welcome, we have Chulan Schubert Kwok. Aloha, if you could just push the mic on, state your name, and then provide your testimony.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, council members. This is good. I want to support part of the bill because I would not support having sparklers or fountains because usually they go to kids and they can't control how to use it. But I'm supportive of retailers taking the permit for legal firework for cultural reasons that people can, you know, for Chinese New Year and other cultural needs. I also would like to propose that the city or the fire department designate an area like a park in like countries like Singapore where you have predominantly Chinese people. They don't allow fireworks in a residential area, but you're allowed to, with a permit, purchase the number, say 5,000 in this case, to go to a designated place that is set up to let off firecrackers or to maybe even pray to your ancestors with a make-do, stage. So I think that might work to allow for some outlet to do the fireworks for cultural reasons and also provide safety.
Thank you very much,
for
Ms.
folks,
Schubert.
and also less call to the police and fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to welcome Tina Yamaki. Is she here? Oh, aloha, Tina.
Aloha and good afternoon. I'm Tina Yamaki with the Retail Merchants of Hawaii, and we are in strong support of this bill. The city and county of Honolulu is the only county that has banned commercial fireworks. And this bill would reverse that. And we're talking about the pop firecrackers most of us grew up with. We are not talking about the aerials and those bombs that we hear going off. Firecrackers hold a profound cultural significance with not only the Chinese, but the Japanese and the Filipinos as well, as a way to ward off evil spirits during especially celebrations like New Year's and other festivities. It also brings people together. The sale and consumer fireworks like firecrackers and sparklers contribute significantly to the local economy. Prior to the ban, retailers were able to sell these things, and it really helped them a lot with their businesses. Now all of the sales are going to illegals and also into the black market. So the black market people are getting richer and we're getting poorer. And we got to understand those on the black market, they're not regulated. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yamaki. Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Yamaki? Okay, thank you, Tina. Clerks, do we have any further in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay. We'll now proceed with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any registered or non-registered remote testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we have some standing by.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, those of you who have been waiting patiently online. When I call your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number, please follow the prompts. Please state your name for the record. Let's see, so first I believe we have Daniel Pert from the Phantom Fireworks.
Chair, he has not logged on.
He's not logged on. Okay. Tad Trout from TNT Fireworks.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee and council members. My name is Tad Trout, and I'm a partner with TNT Fireworks, and I'm in strong support of Bill 22. And thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Over the past few days, a handful of letters opposing Bill 22 have been filed. Most of those have raised the legitimate concerns of illegal aerial and illegal explosives that are being sold in the black market and used throughout Honolulu. Unfortunately, they have included state-approved legal ground-based fountains and novelties as part of the problem, when in fact they are part of the solution. These legal consumer fireworks do not exceed 12 feet in height and are sold throughout the other counties. Offering these legal consumer fireworks to the residents will provide a safe alternative to the black market illegal trade that has proliferated since the ban in 2010. As I've testified in previous committee and council meetings, a three-pronged approach that includes: 1, safe alternative that Bill 22 provides; 2, a stepped-up enforcement effort; and 3, a robust safety and education program is a step in the right direction. These three together will make a huge dent in the illegal black market trade. Please support Bill 22. Thank you, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier online? Okay, seeing none. Next, I have Ms. Valerie Chang from the Hawaii COPD Coalition.
Hi, this is Valerie Chang from the Hawaii COPD Coalition. I'm sorry, I'm still muted. I'm muted. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm Valerie Chang from the Hawaii COPD Coalition, representing the 45,000 people in Hawaii that have been diagnosed with COPD. We have a really, really hard time when there are things in the air like pollutants from fireworks and particulate matter. It's really been wonderful for us that it's been reduced because of the 2010 Bill 34. And it doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. When there's stuff in the air from fountains, from sparklers, those emit things as well. And it's really, really hard for those of us that have challenges breathing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chang. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Okay, seeing none. Clerks, do we have any further online or remote testifiers?
Yes, Chair, we do.
Okay, if you could, I see Natalie Iwasa on there. Maybe I'll go with you first and then we'll go. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I just got an updated list. I apologize. Okay, next we have Stephanie Kendrick.
Sorry, Chair, it took me a minute to get authorization to unmute. Chair Okimoto, Vice Chair Tolba, committee members, Stephanie Kendrick with the Hawaiian Humane Society. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to testify on this measure. You have our written testimony in opposition, so I just want to highlight a couple of points. Hawaiian Humane has been at the forefront for arguing to get fireworks out of our neighborhoods for a very long time because of the damage that it does to the mental health and safety of animals as well as vulnerable people. The 2010 law, I think, has in some respects been a missed opportunity because of the lack of enforcement that came along with it. We have seen in the last few months more fireworks interdiction than we've seen in the last 14 years. And I would just urge the council to defer this measure and give the Illegal Fireworks Task Force a chance to do its job before complicating things with a huge influx of consumer-grade fireworks. We need to get this problem under control and get the bombs out of our neighborhoods. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Ms. Kendrick. Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Kendrick? No? Okay. Next, we have Jamie Johnston.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jamie Johnston, and I am in strong support of Bill 22. I grew up here all my life, and it was so much fun. I had fond memories of playing with sparklers with my family around in New Year's and July, and I really want my children to experience this same joy with sparklers. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? No? Okay, seeing none, next we have Russ Nakamura.
Chair, testifier has not logged on.
Okay. Okay, next we have Chad Sakagawa.
He is also not logged on.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on our list, we have Natalie Iwasa.
Thank you, Chair Okamoto, council members, and thank you also to the Honolulu Fire Department for providing those statistics. You know, we heard that a lot of the firework problems were with other days outside of July 4th and New Year's, and also handmade fireworks. Those definitely should be enforced. But as we saw in the 1920s, prohibition didn't work. And I also want to mention with respect to the air quality, my husband has asthma, my son has asthma, and they both support the fireworks. I think Bill 22 is a reasonable way to offer consumer fireworks to those who are interested in doing that without having the illegal aerials and those big bombs. I would just ask that enforcement outside of that, certain fireworks be enforced, and I think that would actually reduce the amount of illegal aerials that we see today. So thank you very much for allowing me to testify.
Thank you so much, Ms. Iwasa. Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Iwasa? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on next to Corinne Grennett.
Hi, my name is Corinne Grennert. I'm here today in support of Bill 22. I follow what Ms. Iwasa said by saying that I think that less illegal fireworks will be used, those huge aerials and bombs, if we legalize this small number of ground-based fireworks that are just bring so much joy to the community and have cultural purpose and value and allow us to celebrate the New Year and 4th of July. And I think it could also be a boost to the local economy. And we could even put some of the taxes from these fireworks towards first responder training and first responder safety and funding for these emergency services. So please consider all those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, okay, I think we have one more person in-person testifier. Aloha, Angela.
Aloha City Council, Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES. Wishing to comment, so within this firecracker and sparkler discussion, we have extreme levels of hazardous explosives and a safe level where they can light it up and it's not gonna be a public health and public safety issue. So I think what you're trying to determine is the distinguishing line of extreme versus safe, right? So like I'm kind of curious what the vibe is with cultural practices of firecrackers. Is it like a slap on the wrist for the consequences versus a severe citation, right? Like for example, like firecrackers, you get a fine, and like smoking crack is like a felony. So I think it is a good idea to clarify that with the city's prosecuting attorney. And as someone who raises awareness about cruelty to birds, and yet I like cultural displays of Chinese firecrackers, I'd err on the side of caution. So I think a possible solution, just an idea, could be to permit like an event space for consumer fireworks. And also I like to look at federal data. So I'll just provide a little federal data for more assistance from the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, which regulates health reports. Said last year, 800 injuries were caused by firecrackers and 700 injuries from sparklers. And then also there's a
Thank you,
list
Angela.
of most injured.
Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? No questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. Members, we are now in If no further testimonies are here, testifiers are here, we're now in discussion. Okay, Councilmember Say and then Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Maybe Chief Howell? The question, Chief Howell, is who makes up the composition of your fireworks task force? Is that a state task force or is it county task force?
It's a state-led task force.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have the specifics.
No, just the composition of the task force.
I think there's a police department. I'm not actually sure. Did you know?
Sid Moroka. I'm the fire inspector for the fireworks. It's Roy Nakama is a retired HPD, and Jordan Lowe, he's actually on top of him, but Roy Nakama runs the task force right now, yes.
And the composition are made up of all different segments of our community, business, etc., or is it
The fire task force? No, it's just them. But they reach out to Border Patrol, Coast Guard, the Matson Lines. It goes off through them. Yeah.
Okay.
They
none of the vendors, huh?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, none of the vendors.
Okay.
So far, they confiscated like 189,000 pounds so far. 6 containers worth of illegal aerials and fireworks since they started July 1st, 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is all off to the West Coast.
And China. Yeah.
So Matson is the supplier.
There's Matson, Young Brothers, and Pasha shipping.
But Matson, no, Pasha and Young Brothers do not service to China. That's why I'm asking you. Matson services China.
Yes.
Direct.
Yes. But some of the stuff has come from
the West Coast.
West Coast, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where the difficulty occurs.
Yeah. So the Border Patrol, they can search everything that comes international.
Right.
Usually things that come domestic, if it's not somehow flagged,
yeah,
it doesn't get checked. Yeah.
You're correct.
The only way it gets checked is if the paperwork is wrong, if there's something that doesn't seem right, it goes through. All international cargo is x-rayed and checked. Yeah.
So I would say this, Officer Moroka.
Yes.
Most of the illegal fireworks are coming off the West Coast. Why? Because it's just general examination. Here in Honolulu, it's always intensive when it comes from Asia.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Say. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you. I think overall, I have some concerns about this that, hopefully we can address in the future. I'm not quite comfortable with moving it forward today. I don't know what your intention was, but I think that having a little bit more public input would be helpful. I also really want to find a way that if we are going to legalize some degree of commercial fireworks, that we do it in a way that's not ripe for abuse. I think, allowing for the sale of any type of sparkler, fountain, et cetera, under the sun, without having an understanding of how those are abused would create a situation where not only do we have aerials, but we also have lots of these sort of nuisance loud bombs and things that people manufacture on their own. And so I'd like to just make sure that if we do have a framework to permit these, that it minimizes the chance for abuse, that we're really sensitive to that. And also, we minimize the chance for injuries as well as, fires and other types of incidents.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that input. Councilmember Toba.
Thank you, Chair. I echo Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. I think today was a great conversation, and thank you so much for all the stats. We know the challenges, and I would be okay with deferring and having more discussion, even possibly adding more people to this task force. Now that Councilmember Say had make up some really good points on who's shipping, maybe even having the retailers involved. So I'll be okay with having more discussion. I do understand the value of cultural practices. My family love, and I grew up with the fireworks. I'm not a big fan. I do videos every year, encouraging the community to like be, sensitive to the people in our community, especially the kupuna, our veterans, and as well people who own pets. So it is a challenge, and appreciate the stats. And it would be interesting to see, the stats even before 2019 when we were growing up. So thank you, Councilmember Say, for bringing this discussion up, and I hope that we can continue to have great conversations and hopefully come to some sort of balance so that we can enjoy, so our children can enjoy the sparklers, the fountains, and the firecrackers.
Thank you so much, Committee Vice Chair Tolba. Yes, Councilmember See?
Yeah, Madam Chair, the idea behind it was that if we could stop the black market, and these particular products are in the black market. So the people who are bringing it in are, maybe increasing the price range that is 30, 40, maybe 100% what the retailers may be selling. Think about it from that point of view also, that you're looking out for the consumer who wants to play these sparklers, fountains, etc. I've never been a proponent for fireworks, and I agree with some of the testifiers. I have also 2 dogs, and I think Ms. Kendrick knows, and I've been very close with the Hawaiian Humane Society, but the topic for me and the issue was, are we as the local residents getting ripped off in the black market on these prohibited goods? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Say. Okay, I really, seeing no further discussion, I really want to thank everyone for coming out today so that we could have this public forum to discuss something that has been dear to our communities, but also we want to respect the departments who are keeping our communities safe. As I took in all the testimonies and I could see the sides of everyone's points. And I think even as I walked in my community, the pet lovers, they shared how their concerns weren't, they understand the respected times when fireworks were allowed. I think their dilemma and their concerns were when fireworks were going off outside of those specified times that were allotted. And we know that we have to deal with the enforcement of those things that are deemed illegal, and the ones that are causing the loud noise and the smoke, it happens to be the ones that go off in the air for the most part. But I really do appreciate the discussion, and thank you for the departments for coming and answering our questions. They're not always easy, and we appreciate you guys doing so. I want to thank the introducer of this bill. I think it's really good to see someone thinking outside of the box to be creative in what we're introducing. Like most of us have shared, we grew up here. I mean, I grew up again with the fireworks. My dad was a firefighter. He inflicted the fear of setting things on fire when I was young, but he taught us that at that young age how to do things sensibly and responsibly. But I think for us, this discussion is really good because we want to find that balance, like has been mentioned, on respecting the cultures that make our state so special. This island is really unique because of all the cultures that are brought here, and we don't want to ignore traditions and culture, but we want to be respectful to our communities and find a way to keep our communities safe. So I really appreciate the discussion. And that being said, with the discussion, I have taken into consideration everybody's input, and at this time the chair will recommend that we will, action on this bill 22-2024 will be postponed to a time and date to be determined by the committee chair. And I think at that time, and during that time, we can have further insight, hoping to meet with the departments and administration, as well as, see what we can do to find a happy medium. I'd like to find ways to do so. So members, do we have any further discussion? Any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. And at this time, this brings us to the end of our agenda. I want to thank everyone again for being here and for your participation. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 2:30.